We're going to go live in just a sec. Good evening, welcome to FailCraft Casts, and I'm Hammy. In this special BlizzCon celebration, we are going to be having a chat over the very fresh announcement of Overwatch, Blizzard's new IP, and really excited to be getting stuck in and having a chat about it. It's a team-based multiplayer shooter, and we're going to go through some of the fantastic assets that Blizzard have unveiled, have a bit of a chat, see what our impressions of the game are, and go through some of the various trailers, some of the various classes that have been announced. Overwatch will be in testing in 2015, and you can go to playoverwatch.com and you can go ahead and log in with your Battle.net ID and sign up and opt in for beta access. So without further ado, let's jump into Overwatch. What is Overwatch? Well, there have been a couple of fabulous trailers released, and in the future there is a big war going on and everyone's fighting, and this is a beautiful Pixar-esque trailer that was going on, and then out of these struggles come heroes, and these heroes are Overwatch. They're an international team who have been put together to effectively sort everything out and save the world from destroying itself, and they call themselves heroes and misfits and oddities and oddballs, but they all come together and sort things out. Flying Gorilla, we'll talk about him more in a bit. Cheeky Cockney, we'll talk about more her in a bit, and all kinds of crazy heroes. Some of these we haven't even seen, if they are going to be heroes, we haven't even seen, or characters that are available to play, we haven't seen them in the trailer. So, coming through the trailer, that is Overwatch, and a bunch of the heroes that we will actually get introduced to, the different character classes, shortly. But when their purpose was kind of done, Overwatch got disbanded, and we then come into a museum where we have a couple of kids. You can see what I mean by Pixar-esque influences. I'll be very surprised if some Pixar animators haven't worked on this trailer. Just look at those eyes, they very much remind me of some of the Pixar kids, where the young blonde kid is sort of saying, oh, you know, they're such heroes, and the guy in the hoodie is a little bit more cynical, saying, oh, they're all mercenaries now. And then suddenly a massive fight breaks out. Good old Space Gorilla, as I called him to start with his very nice square glasses, jumped in and asks if they're enjoying the museum exhibits about Overwatch, and jumps out of the way before all heck breaks loose. We see someone who's going to be called Widowmaker sniping in, and we basically have two teams. We have broadly good characters against broadly bad looking characters. If you go for your gaming or TV tropes, you know roughly what kind of how good and how bad looks like. So unsurprisingly, we have someone dressed in black, a very evil looking woman with a sniper rifle, trying to pick off our bold and noble heroes as there's a fight going on through the museum. That's her on the right, she's Widowmaker, and we can see a massive fight going on as everyone is jumping around. I will give you, you should go to playoverwatch.com and watch this trailer. Let me just say, some of these, I was grabbing screenshots furiously until I found out that naturally, faith in Blizzard, beautiful website with loads of screenshots launched pretty much 5 minutes after the actual presentation ended. We then see someone called Reaper. Now you can kind of tell he's a Reapy dude. He's a dual pistol wielding sort of bad guy. He looked to be on Team Bad in this trailer, and he, having done basically loads of sort of gun Carter style moves and throwing himself around very much in a equilibrium sort of gun dancer kind of way, then proceeded to disappear in a cloud of smoke and start taking over the area. We can see a little plucky hero there, heroine who we will discuss a little bit more in a bit, facing off against Black Widow here, blinking in behind her as she was lining up her sniper rifle and distracting her away from our main heroes. We will go through these in a bit. So we have those all finishing up. We'll go through Heroes in the Wild, but when got moved from the sort of main trailer where our heroine, who we just saw, sort of said to the two kids, the world needs more heroes. The kid had actually picked up this power gauntlet at the very end and smashed it into one of people's face to fish things off. We then got shown broadly what looked like quite an Egyptian looking level, so there is actually a gameplay trailer going around as well as the cinematic one, and we just run through the cinematic one there. So this was a very Egyptian looking level, and we then saw this sort of team-based FPS shooting style coming into action. We didn't get given a name for this level. Two of the levels that we've sort of been shown in screenshots, there's one called Hanamura, which very looks like an old sort of Japanese style town. King's Row, which looks like a very urban style, kind of think Sin City type level as well. But this one was very much, as you can see, set in ancient Egypt, some kind of pyramids, temples or similar. We then got shown a bunch of abilities. We got shown a sentry gun popping up, and it actually turned out I thought this was a sentry gun that someone had placed down, Team Fortress style. In actual fact, it was a hero, a playable hero that you can get stuck into, which was really awesome. And then we took a look at the Overwatch hero lineup. So that's a Blizzard wallpaper, and isn't it fabulous? Overwatch has got such a great looking set of heroes. You've got sort of the whole Japanese mecha influences. You've got some who look very much like the angelic. You can see hints of Diablo and various other things. I like this guy on the left who looks a bit like an Indiana Jones type sort of gunslinger, not been introduced yet, so one would assume all of these are playable heroes. We've been introduced to a fair bunch of these to start with, and we're just going to go through a few of them now to introduce them to you. So jump into the game start screen. That was what game start was looking like. This is the beginning of this the gameplay trailer. You can see your entire team lined up and ready to start rocking and rolling through there. That was a screenshot taken from the stream, so please ignore the quality. Not indicative of the actual game. We had some awesome heroes that we had a look at. So for starters, let us take a look at whoever is on top. And that is going to be, well, that was a game screenshot where we saw people running around, but again, not indicative of game quality. Please go and watch the gameplay trailer. It looks loads better than that. So first up we had Reinhardt, who was looking pretty awesome. In terms of how Reinhardt was playing, Reinhardt very much looked like he would be playing as a tank type class. He was running around with a huge big hammer, and effectively he looked as though he could be sort of smashing people. He had shock waves that could knock people over. He could swing around with huge melee blows, and he had a shield as well that he could put up and sort of protect people with. Rocket hammer shield. He also had a charge ability where he can fly forward, grab hold with enemies in his path, and then if he actually rams them against a wall, he can do a bunch of damage too. Fire strike. He can throw his rocket hammer forward, sling a flaming projectile which pierces and damages any enemies it touches. So as you can sort of look, a big sort of tough looking guy, slightly slow moving, but very, very solid, very, very tanky, and can not only probably protect your team, but also do some fairly nasty damage if anyone gets in melee range with him as well. Then we had Tracer. Now, Tracer was looking pretty sparky. Tracer was the heroine that I was talking about in the trailer that just sort of went through, and Tracer had loads of blink abilities. She had for English people, you may have heard of an English accent called Cockney. Cockney is sort of an East London sort of type, central to East London old school sort of apples and pears, you know, think of the film Oliver, if you've ever seen of that, and Tracer's got a bit of an English accent, apparently from London, England, which makes sense. Dual-wielding, pistol-slinging gunslinger, rapid firing both of her pistols as one ability. She did have a blink, which you can see in the cinematic trailer. She basically teleports through space, and she can store up to 3 charges of that blink, so it's a fairly straightforward, think of a mage blink in Warcraft, but you can blink around. We saw her blink behind Widowmaker, the sort of evil looking sniper in the video, and sort of distract her. So Tracer can be blinking, moving around, very fast gunslinging class. Tracer also has a recall. She can jump backwards in time, which restores her health, ammo and position on the map to precisely where they were a few seconds before. So she can effectively run in, I guess, do a bunch of damage, lose lots of damage, and then she can recall, meaning that she'll reset her health, ammo and position. So only a few seconds before, you're not going to be able to you know, teleport back to fully full health, I'm guessing, depending on where you are, or unless you're on full health. But an interesting ability. Tracer is probably all going to be about movement and similar. And then she's also got an ultimate called Pulse Bomb, lobbing a large bomb that sticks to a surface or opponent, and then it blows up and does blast radius damage. So that was looking very, very, very exciting indeed. Tracer looking quite fun, a very mobile gunslinging type slot class. We then had a bit of Widowmaker, and these are all screenshots, by the way, from the gameplay trailer, but they were taken off a stream. So usual caveat, go and look on the playoverwatch.com website. Beautiful shots available there, and I may well redo this video with some of the better ones as well. So we had Widowmaker jumping in. Widowmaker was the sniper we saw in the animated trailer, a French assassin out of Nancy in France. 4 abilities: Widow's Kiss, a big sniper rifle. If a target is in medium range, you can have an automatic mode sniper rifle, so really going to be a distance range class doing damage from afar. Also got a grappling hook, fire a grappling hook, the hook connects and then she can pull herself towards it, evade and flank targets, jump up to high places, get out of the way, very, very mobile in that kind of way. Also has a venom mine, sticking a swiftly armed mine to nearly any surface, and then when a target wanders within range, it blows up and poison gas. Lovely. Protect yourself while you're sniping with a venom mine. And then finally, ultimate ability of Infrasight, Widowmaker's recon visor, allowing her to see heat signatures of targets through walls and objects for a moderate amount of time. So that's really, really awesome in that you can also give that enhanced vision to your allies as well. So even if you can't shoot through walls necessarily, your allies are going to be able to see where everyone is on the enemy team as well, so that's going to be pretty chunky indeed. Next up we have Bastien. I love the look of Bastien. Bastien is like a robot badass. There's no other way to describe him. He is a battle automaton. He can be configured in 2 modes, and we saw one of his modes earlier in the sentry cannon looking shot. He can be configured to siege. He's a stationary gun with a forward facing shield and a massive Gatling gun that can be aimed by you. Then you can configure into assault mode, fully mobile, running around with a submachine gun, and it's got sort of 3-range submachine gun type bursts. You can reconfigure between the two as another ability, and then you also have self-repair, where you can restore your health, but you cannot move or fire weapons while you're repairing. So that self-heal could be really, really awesome. However, if you're stationary, then you're going to be sitting there and probably in a little bit of a vulnerable position, so you want to get somewhere safe before you're going to start trying to repair yourself up. There we go, we have Bastien, looking pretty cool. Sentry gun fans are going to love that, I think. Right, next up we have none other than Farah, and Farah looking like a sort of, kind of, I don't know, like that hawkish star visor very much reminds me of something out of the Lilac Wars Star Fox type thing, an attacking character, and has basically a whole bunch of flying things. You can see from this screenshot she has a jetpack, which looks absolutely awesome, a rocket launcher, rockets that deal big damage, jump jet, you can fly high into the air with your jetpack, and then you have concussive blast, firing a wrist rocket rather than the main rocket that knocks back any enemies it strikes and deals huge damage to shields and barriers. Very, very awesome. And then finally barrage, a continuous salvo of mini rockets to destroy groups of enemies. So Farah, definitely some heavy artillery. Next up we have a Reaper. Now Reaper we saw carrying through in that initial cinematic trailer. Reaper is a little bit of a, as I sort of described him, I'm guessing it to him, as gun carter, throwing himself around, attacking character. He actually has Hellfire shotguns you can see in his hand, twin shotguns, dual wielding, lovely jubbly, laying some pain down. Wraith form, which we also saw in the cinematic trailer, he becomes a shadow for a short period. He doesn't take damage, can pass through enemies, but can't fire weapons or use abilities, so a good way of getting away, outflanking people, picking a good fight. Shadow step, after marking a destination, Reaper disappears and reappears at that location, so he can also start teleporting around as well as using Wraith form to travel through people. And finally the ultimate of Death Blossom. In a blur of motion he empties both of his shotguns really fast and does massive damage to all nearby enemies. Now note that that's in a sort of circle around him. You can see it's effectively running around and doing a load of damage around him. It's not just straight, it's not an aimed ability. You just line up close to people and then let your shotguns do the talking. Beautiful. Zenyatta. Zenyatta looking very interesting, sort of a levitating kind of part Dalsim, part sort of semi-spiritual. He's a wandering guru and adventurer apparently, out of Nepal, so that makes sense. He has orbs which you can see floating around him there. The Orb of Destruction, you can throw them individually or in a rapid fire volley, but you need to channel that for a bit. You've got Orb of Harmony. As long as Zenyatta remains alive, the orb will slowly restore health to the ally that it's been cast on, but you can only put that on one ally at a time. An Orb of Discord, you can attach it to an opponent and it actually amplifies the amount of damage that they take for Zenyatta to live. So Zenyatta has got heal, he's got debuff, he's got a damage ability, and then he also has an ultimate of Transcendence. Zenyatta enters a state of heightened existence for a short period of time, and then while he's like that, he can't use abilities or weapons, but he's immune and automatically restores his health and that of nearby allies. So we can see that Zenyatta is very much a support class. He does have damage abilities, but he's healing, he's debuffing, and then he can do a nice chunk of heal to himself and his allies too. So Zenyatta going to be a nice support to your team. Not quite a full-on medic, but certainly a handy member of your squad to have. And there's a nicer screenshot, so you can see the difference between my screenshots off the stream there and then the actual screenshots that Blizzard have provided. So go to playoverwatch.com and see the images. Just use mine as a little indication of what's coming. and there is Zenyatta, presumably looking very transcendent in all his glory. We did not grab a screenshot from the stream, but we're going to have a little chat now about Winston, or Space Monkey as I like to call him. Kicks ass in the cinematic trailer. He is very much a tanky character as well. A scientist and adventurer. He has a Tesla cannon which you can zap lightning with at close range, a jump pack which will let you lunge through the air, but you will also deal damage and stun or stagger nearby enemies when you land. Shield projector. You can put a shield around yourself, and if you're inside the shield as an ally, you can shoot from within it. You won't take damage coming in, but you can shoot out. So very, very handy shield. And then last but not least, Primal Rage. He boosts his health. He makes him very hard to kill. He has a bigger melee attack, and he can use his jump back more frequently. But while he's raging, he can only make melee and jump back attacks, so he can only jump around and melee people at close range. But Winston, no ape that you want to mess with, and there is him in his Primal Rage stance doing a massive melee swipe. You don't want to get in the way with that, I'm guessing. Another nice look at some of Widowmaker in action. We've already covered Widowmaker as a hero or playable class, but again you can see some lovely in-game screenshots there. And Widowmaker with her visor also, very, very nice. We've now got a bit more Tracer as well. You can see again some nice in-game screenshots using those dual pistols to some beautiful effect. And also trying to zap away there at old Reinhardt with his shield up. Now here's a hero that we they are called heroes. Here's a class or hero that we've not taken too much of a look at yet, and he's Torbjorn. He is apparently sits in a defensive role, and he's Swedish. Rivet gun. He can fire rivets, or he can shoot molten metal in a close range burst, so he can have long range or short range with his rivet gun. Forge hammer. He can use his hammer to build, upgrade and repair turrets. Semi-engineering style, and you can also use it as a weapon if you really have to. Build turret. Torbjorn very much being an engineering role. An enemy tracking autocannon. You can use the scrap from dead enemies and allies to repair or upgrade it, increase its health, adding a second cannon barrel and a rocket launcher. Sounds familiar to those of you who play some of the team-based shooters. And then armor pack. You can deploy an armor upgrade. Either yourself or your allies can actually pick it up, so you can use your own armor packs as well to sort of get yourself buffed up. Hey Thranky, hey Thresh, it's great to have you with us. We are chatting through, if you're live, some Overwatch, which has just been announced by Blizzard. Very exciting. So there is Torbjorn himself, and Torbjorn's hammer, I think, is called Molten Core, or Molten Cord. That was shouted out in one of the trailers, so you can keep a lookout for that. And there's Torbjorn with his sentry gun, looking very fiery and fearsome. Next up we have, again, you can see in the background here, we're not focusing on Tracer, we're focusing on Symmetra. Now, Symmetra looked a little interesting. She is a support, and she has some interesting sets of things. She has a photon projector, a short range beam that homes in on near enemies, and the longer you channel it on the enemy, the more damage it does. But it can also release a charged energy ball that does high damage, so it's like part railgun, part tracking damage channeled gun. Symmetra then also has sentry turrets, a small turret that automatically fires speed-reducing blasts at the nearest enemy within range, and you can make several of these turrets. So it may not be doing damage or any huge damage, but it can certainly slow your enemies down, which can be very useful, perhaps to set them up for other people to kill them. Photon shield. You can surround an ally with a hard light shield that absorbs damage and persists as long as the ally remains alive. The shield remains alive too. And finally, teleporter. Symmetra can place teleporter pads at her current location and connect it to an entry pad at a team starting point, so allies can travel through and teleport instantly, rather than having any queues or anything like that. So Symmetra's support abilities are very much around shielding, debuffing, and then also moving allies around the battlefield nice and quickly. So perhaps on Capture the Flag maps, we need to get people back to the flag room if they're going to announce such a mode. Symmetra could be very, very handy indeed. We can then see a couple of really cool shots of Reaper that we've already covered, but we'll just take a look at him looking generally rather gangster on these Egyptian tombs, but also it looks like in the middle you've got some skyscrapers in the background as well there. A little bit more of Farah jumping around in her security type way, but we're now going to have a little look at Mercy. So again, we didn't grab a shot of Mercy, but you can see Mercy in the gameplay trailer, and Mercy is a support. Now, Angel of Mercy, very much so, and you can absolutely see her staff in hand, the Caduceus staff. Mercy can use one of 2 beams that connect to an ally. By maintaining the beams, she can either restore that ally's health or she can increase the amount of damage they deal. So a nice dual support. We can either be healing or we can be buffing an ally to do more damage. There's also a Caduceus Blaster, shooting around from the side on, but it's best reserved for emergency personal defence. So that's probably not the greatest damage dealing thing in the world, but in a pinch we can use it. Guardian Angel. Mercy flies towards a targeted ally, allowing her to reach them quickly and provide assistance in crucial moments. So that's a gap closer that will let you get nice and close, nice and quick, so that you can start healing and similar. And then there's an ultimate, Angelic Descent, propelled by the suit. Oh, okay, sorry, it's not an ultimate. They've not... ooh, there's 5 abilities there. Maybe I've been missing some abilities on these previous heroes that I've been running through. I'll just take a quick look. But Angelic Descent, Mercy can jump from great heights and not get damaged. And then also with Resurrect as her ultimate, she radiates restoring power, bringing nearby dead allies back into the fight with full health. So that's a nice big Resurrect, and you resurrect everyone on full health. So that looks really, really fun. Cool, so there is Mercy, and we can also see her with her healing beam. That's probably the damage beam in action actually, because it's purple rather than sort of the healing colour. So Mercy in action there. And next up we have, I like to call him Hattori Hanzo, if you ever watched Kill Bill. But Hanzo is very much an offensive character, and as you can see by his bow, he can fire his arrows with his storm bow. He has a sonic arrow, launching an arrow that contains a sonar tracking device. If there's any enemy within the radius, it gets marked, and then Hanzo and his allies can watch them around the map, hunt them down a bit more easily. Scatter Arrow, a fragmenting arrow that bounces off walls and objects and can hit many targets at once. And then finally Dragon Strike, where he summons a spirit dragon which travels through the air in a line. It passes through walls in its way and devours any enemies it encounters. By devours, I wonder if that's like an instant kill. If so, that's a crazy, crazy ability. We'll have to check that out and see what it does. And ask some more questions. There's Hanzo in all of his in-game glory, and we can see Hanzo alongside a bit of Bastion here in our final shots. So that is actually, for the time being, our little summary of Overwatch. Overwatch looking like a whole bunch of fun. Just to remind you, it's going to be into testing in 2015. You can sign up for the beta by heading over to playoverwatch.com, or you can go to EU Battle.net or your Battle.net account, and you can also opt in via the beta opt-in section of your Battle.net account as well. You can also check out a fantastic cinematic trailer and a fantastic gameplay trailer. There have been some screenshots from this set off a stream of those trailers, but all of the high-res images and high-res trailers, all of this is in high-res and in proper quality at playoverwatch.com. So do go and check that out there. Thanks very much for tuning in to this little Overwatch introduction. I really look forward to seeing more of how it comes through. I have been Hammy, this has been FailCraft Casts, and we very much hope we'll see you another time. If you're live, don't go away, we'll be back. If you are currently watching this on YouTube, then please do come and check out. We do loads of Blizzard stuff. We'd love to see more. We do sort of Overwatch bits and bobs, where we also do the Half Stone Half Hour 5 nights a week in Heroes of the Storm, and getting stuck into that as well. So where can you find us? If I can actually restore my overlays, then you can actually find us at twitch.tv/FailCraftCast. We tend to go live Monday through Friday and stream as much as we can. The Half Stone Half Hour in a whole bunch of different things. Oh, there we go. YouTube.com/FailCraftCasts, over 100 Half Stone Half Hour episodes. We'll try and do more Overwatch as we go. Heroes of the Storm, do catch us there. You can always see on @FailCraftCasts on Twitter. We'll tweet when we're going to be live streaming or posting new YouTube videos. And last but not least, the website is failcraft.org. You can find news articles, updates there, some things that don't live so well in videos, whether they be deck lists, guides or similar. So thanks very much for tuning into this Overwatch summary, and hopefully see you again soon. Take it easy.